we're going to now introduce our first presenter, Marcy Scheinwald. Would you please come on up here? And be careful, don't kill myself. Don't trip on anything. So Marcy is the president of the foundation of Laguna Woods Village. And she is going to talk to us about how the Village Foundation might be able to assist on a case-by-case basis with hearing assistive technology. That could be hearing aids, remote controls, TV listening boxes, assistive devices. So Marcy, I'll let you do that.
All right, could I ask a request though? Could we put the light over here? I have vision problems, not hearing problems.
We can do that.
Without light, thank you. Is there anybody in this audience who's from New York? Okay, I feel at home already. I'm from a little community on Long Island called Islip. And for 8.5 years, I was a commissioner with the town of Islip. And one of my duties was to go out and talk to community groups. And I would usually start with this question. Do you know what the 3 greatest lies in the world are? Any? That's it. Number 1, the check is in the mail. Number 2, well, better than that. I'll still love you in the morning. And the 3rd is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Well, I do it a little differently now. I'm from the foundation and I am here to help residents in the village. And I go out and speak to clubs and groups in the village because I am learning that many people do not know that this resource is there to help them. I come across people through my involvement with the foundation who are simply outliving their money. They find that when they're budgeting, they don't have enough money for food to last the month. In January, February, and March, when it was cold, they had problems paying their Edison bills. Some of them are people who have had a loss of vision, similar to diminished hearing, who have trouble buying equipment. Some of them have a spouse or partner who's suffering from forgetfulness or dementia. Some of them may have been in the hospital, and when they're discharged, they can't afford a caregiver. They don't know how to get Meals on Wheels. The foundation steps in those instances to help residents. There is a first contact point. Tony mentioned assistance with hearing devices. The first contact point is social services. How many people know where the social services office is? I should see every hand in this room up. Do I sound like the former school teacher I was? Social services provides that first access. They vet or assess all needs for assistance. They put out a request to the foundation, and we approve or disapprove, rarely disapprove, that request for assistance. We never know the name of the person who is asking for help. All requests for assistance are completely confidential. There is one catch, though. We do not give the money directly to the resident. We pay the vendor. So if there was an approval for equipment, we would pay the company or entity that is providing this equipment. I should also point out two other things. You have to have lived in the village for at least 3 years, because we're here to help people who have made a commitment to Laguna Woods and living here. And second, our assistance is capped at $2,500 a year because, let me be very honest, we depend on the generosity of the village to provide our funds that we in turn give out to residents. Last year, we spent $280,000 helping residents in the village. 99% of that money came from our neighbors. It truly is neighbors helping neighbors. We do not work alone. We work with AgeWell. We are the entity that pays for Meals on Wheels in the village. We feed between 150 and 175 people a month. We work with Braille for low vision residents who need special equipment. We work with the South County Adult Day Services for residents who need help with dementia or Alzheimer's. Recently, we also started 2 additional services that might be of interest to people here. The first is we started with the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. We found that there were residents who could not afford an earthquake kit. We will purchase it for a needy resident. We also found that there are people who need medical alert devices. If the resident meets the financial qualifications, we will pay for that device and the annual fee. We will also pay for the care ambulance contracts for people who cannot afford them. For those of you who have used an ambulance, you know that Medicare only goes so far. Care ambulance steps in and we try to help residents. Recently, we also are starting a new program with Saddleback Hospital, a fall prevention program. I found out what I thought was a startling statistic recently. One of the staff people in social services looked at the ambulance calls from the village to Saddleback Hospital. 1 out of 2 of those calls was due to a fall. Falls can absolutely disrupt somebody's life. They can cost an enormous amount of money in terms of medical care, and we're hoping that this combined effort between the Foundation, Saddleback Hospital, and social services will prevent people from injuring themselves. At this point, does anybody have a question for me yet? Yes, sir. What I can honestly say is that when somebody goes into social services, they do not ask you whether you're a renter or an owner.
I'm talking about a long-term renter.
They don't ask you.
They don't
You're a
ask.
resident.
Oh,
Did I answer your question as best I could?
yes. I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Any other question at this point? Then let me give you my pitch. I want you to understand where we get our money from and how we depend on the generosity of the village. I want you to give you an idea of how we spend the money that is donated. And then I have a fact sheet that I'm going to leave with Tony that she can give out. What is important on that fact sheet are the phone numbers. where you can call to get help. I would say put this piece of paper in a safe place, because none of us know when we may go to the hospital and need Meals on Wheels or need caregiver services. And it's important to know the other services that social services provides. Let me do it as quickly as I can. I don't want to extend Tony's generosity in letting me come to speak today. A $100 donation that somebody makes to the foundation can buy 2 earthquake kits, or it can transport 8 residents to the food pantry. We take people without transportation who need the pantry free of charge. All they have to do is request the service through social services. $200 can provide 5 days of care for somebody with dementia at the adult day service. A $300 donation can pay for 42 Meals on Wheels. A $400 donation can pay for 8 electricity bills, or can pay for 8 $50 grocery cards that we give out through social services. A $500 donation can pay for needed caregiver services after a hospital stay. Now, I want to end on one clarification. I know that hearing aids and hearing assistive equipment can be very expensive, and we do have a cap on our assistance. We have paid in the past for hearing devices and hearing assistance, but sometimes you can use the other services available through social services and the foundation to stretch your dollars. You can use our grocery cards, our assistance with Edison bills. I'm sorry. Oh, did I do something wrong?
I'm in the way.
Oh, I apologize. Well, I have no control over Tony.
I don't have control over me either.
So what I'm trying to say is there are services available that you can use to stretch your dollars, which may in some instances be limited. And let me end by one further note. You yourself may not need our services, but I've lived in the village now 8 years, and I have learned something important. You may have a neighbor or a friend who needs our services. Please share the word. Let them know what is unique about Laguna Woods Village. I know of no other community where people take care of their neighbors. Thank you very much. See, I sparked a question. I don't know the answer to that, but I can't imagine that you wouldn't be able to. They're about $50, the earthquake kits. There's an office on the first floor of the community center. They're open in the morning hours. That's how we purchased ours. So I'm sharing it. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Let me wait for the microphone so that the captioning person can hear what you're saying.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question about, I have hearing aids and that cost about $7,000. You see this device, which is a cell phone?
Yes.
Okay, that's $700 for this particular expensive model, right? Why is it $7,000 for hearing aids, $7,000 for this? I think this is something the government should investigate.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
no longer with the government, thankfully. I left that part of my life. But thank you very, very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your meeting. I'm going to leave the flyers, some of them here with Tony. And everybody, stay cool for the rest of the day.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put them on the desk. When you turn in your name tags, you can pick one of these up when you leave. Okay.